Thank you, Father, for the day. And thank you to the audience for being here. I'm really excited. If you do not already know our guest, Monica Tanner, I am so thrilled for you all to meet her today. And I have to read her list is long. Let's talk about it. Wife, mom of four. Hats off. RLT certified relationship coach, podcast host, and I love this former collector of really bad marriage advice. I think that's my favorite title.
Oh,
Uh,
good.
Monica, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it is my absolute pleasure.
Okay, so for all of you, I didn't realize I had this hat on, but I have on my Texas hat, hook 'em. Guess what? Monica is a Longhorn.
I'm a Longhorn 2001 grad.
So very cool. Of course, she's in Boise, Idaho. Let's just make that clear. And she said, why? She'll never know, but she's very happy there.
Yes.
So welcome, an audience. If you're able to sit down, grab a cup of coffee or tea or glass of wine or whatever it is, this is, I've been listening to Monica's podcast, and it's the Not So Happily Ever After.
It's called Secrets of Happily Ever After.
Secrets of Happily Ever After. I'm telling y'all, I've been giggling this morning because her March series is all about getting lucky, just so you know. And you've got to get on there. We'll talk a little bit about that today. But this is about not just having a good marriage. When Monica and I talked the other day, she said, I want people to have fun and just be in love with being married. And, I have to say that should be everyone's goal.
Right?
Yes. So, Monica, how did you get here? How did you decide that you were going to dive into what maybe, probably is one of the top three most important relationships, if not the number one in the world? Everything about marriage shapes society.
It's true. It's true. I grew up watching Disney movies and I thought that my life was an absolute fairy tale until my parents sat me down at the age of 12 and told my brother and I that they were getting a divorce. And I remember thinking, wait, what?
Yeah.
That's not the ending that, I was expecting. And so I knew from that young age that marriage was important and that I wanted to do it. But I remember looking around and feeling kind of discouraged because most of the married people around me didn't seem all that happy. It seemed like a lot of work and they were just kind of going through the motions and they didn't look like they were having very much fun. And I thought, you know what, there has to be a better way to do this. And so I just kind of dedicated my life to learning, what makes marriage lasting and fun and passionate. And, it's kind of matured as I've experienced marriage. It's definitely not perfect, my marriage, but we have come through a lot of challenges and we come out stronger every single time. And so I mean, we have a lot of fun together and we are very different. And so I kind of have this thing where I think your differences in marriage are actually what makes it great. A lot of people come to me because I am a marriage coach and I work with a lot of married couples, and they'll start off with, "I just don't think we're compatible," and I'll be like, "That's great news,"
That is
because
great
because
news.
for my husband and I, it's our differences that make our marriage passionate. And it's working through those differences skillfully, like learning about each other and learning how to honor and value and like really work with those differences that's made our marriage intimate. And that's what people want. I mean, at the end of the day, at the end of your life, you want to be there with your best friend, somebody you love and respect and have so much fun with. And that's probably not going to be your clone. So, it's probably futile to try and find somebody who thinks the way you do about everything. That would be so boring. And so
Oh,
I'm like, don't be afraid of differences, you guys. Let's just learn how to work with them.
yeah, I cannot. So I was married before,
Mhm.
and thank you, Father. We have a very nice relationship in an extended family kind of way. And my husband, I've been my current husband 30 years, and it was interesting. There wasn't a lot of conversation when I'm a lot over, we have a lot older, we have determined than Monica, clearly. However, there wasn't a lot of conversation about marriage coaching and counseling and dive in and, as you say, often compassionate curiosity, I
Yeah.
believe is one of your terms. That just was not there. And this counseling was more like, we have to stay married. One person has to win and the other person has to give something up. It's different. The way you approach this, it's beautiful because it is a skill set that we can all develop.
Yes, it's just like learning a sport or learning how to play an instrument. They're skills. And if you make them a priority, anyone can learn how to do them, but you do have to be bad at it before you're good at it. And so I think that trips a lot of people up is because relationship is a skill set. You can learn how to communicate better. And the thing that I think is so funny is a lot of the couples that come to me, uh, one or both of them are very highly successful in their businesses or their financial life, and they
Mhm.
can't figure out how to do what they do in business in the home. And because it's a different set of skill sets, like you can be really good at communicating to employees or to clients or to people that give you money or things like that, right? You can be good at that type of communication. You can be really good at solving problems and creating systems that are efficient. All of those things that make you massively successful in the world. And then you come home and it's a different skill set. There's nothing to be solved. There are no systems to put in place. I mean, to an extent, right? I mean, most of family life is being present and understanding each other and just being there in the chaos with each other and not trying to actually fix anything.
I love that, not trying to fix anything, just being there and sharing in the present moment. Something that I'd heard you say on your podcast, and I believe it's true, whether it's on Getting Lucky or Day to Day, there has to be an emotional safety.
Yes. Right. And so if you're being criticized or corrected or trying to be fixed, or somebody's always trying to get you to see things their way or tell you why you're not doing it right, that erodes all sense of safety, right? And so as an employer or like a high level manager or somebody who makes a lot of money, that's your job is to kind of get people to fall in line and align with your vision and your purpose of your business, but not at home. In fact, we have this joke because my husband he's kind of a stickler for going to church. It's very important that our children go to church, and so we have 2 hours of church, and my kids will always want to leave after the first hour. And I'll say, well, I'm going to leave. And they'll say, what? Dad's going to kill you. I'm like, no, he's not. I'm an adult. I get to do whatever I want. But you have to make the decision if you want to deal with dad's wrath because he does get to make the rules for you, but he does not make the rules for me.
I love that. My dad used to say, "You are not the boss of me." We try to get him to do something else. That I love that. First of all, we have to talk about 2 hours of church. So, because everybody in our group will go an hour, but that is kind of it for one day.
Right,
Uh,
right.
so the thing about it is how do because your clients, your audience, wide range of ages, some
Mhm.
just getting married, some been married for a while, some,
I'm looking for their
yes.
person. Yeah.
Is there? First of all, I'm going to shout out to the audience. The more I've taken a deeper dive into Monica's work, everybody needs to, and all the information will be here. You need to follow her podcast and get this great information. Um, but how do you start this process of education and coming through counseling, whether it's before you get married or with kids and after? What do you tell people? How do they get their mindset properly before they come into that first session?
Yeah. Well, I think that there's a big stigma on marriage coaching or counseling or whatever. Like, people, a lot of my clients, when they'll leave reviews for me or they'll give me a testimonial, but they don't want to do it like with showing their face or because there is a stigma of like, you need marriage coaching. And it makes me crazy because I'm like, listen, elite athletes, they hire great coaches, right? If you want your business to be successful, you hire a consultant and a coach to get in there and show you your blind spots. And the marriage relationship is no different. You've got two people in a dynamic that they can't see because they're in it. And so, if you want to have a fantastic marriage, I think all marriages need some coaching. It means you've got somebody with a third view who can show you the things that you can't see on your own because you can't see the label from the inside of the bottle. And you're inside a dynamic, the two of you, and you don't understand most of the time how you're pulling each other into the dance. And so that's what it is. You're in a dynamic or a dance. And so if you want to like raise the level of your marriage, you've got to hire somebody to help you see the things that you can't see. And so that's of utmost importance. I give a massive discount to newlyweds or engaged couples because there's a statistic that absolutely breaks my heart, and it's that couples will wait 6 years in a miserable marriage before asking for help. And I think it takes so much courage and so much commitment to get help. So that's why it probably takes couples 6 years. It's hard to ask for help. But when you start your marriage on a solid foundation, when you get to know somebody who can support you and you let them take a look at the dynamic, help you recognize, pitfalls that could be out there, right? Help you talk about certain topics like parenting, sex, and money, like the big three that that are really troublesome for people, right? If you work through that with somebody from the very beginning, then you go off and you do the honeymoon phase of your marriage. And we always joke about the first day of your real marriage is the morning you wake up and go, "Oh my gosh, what have I done?" Right?
They're
That's
not leaving.
right, right. I mean, I didn't come up with that, but it's just so
Right.
funny, right? Your marriage starts the day you wake up and go, "Dear God, what have I done?" Right? And so that's when you've already connected with somebody who knows your dynamic, who knows you individually, who knows your goals as a couple, who can help you now gain the skills. Now in the trenches, when you're feeling the fire, you can go and they can help you fine tune things and help you with those skills so that you don't get so far down the line. So many of my clients, they've been married 20, 30 years. Their kids are leaving the house. They've been in this dynamic for decades. And now they're going, we don't know if we want to stay married. And I'm like, yeah, we've got a lot to unpack.
Yes. You know, first of all, I do believe with all of my heart that the greatest show of strength is asking for help.
Yes.
And I think it's, let's all put on a little bit of humility. We all need help.
Mhm.
And I love before I was married, and I've talked to my kiddos about this in the church, you go through
Mhm.
this wonderful counseling, if you will, talking about things that could come up, mainly the big three, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just raising kids, sex, and money. and things get, and of course, and you're not even married yet, and you're thinking, oh, I'll be fine, and
Yeah,
I'm
what could possibly go wrong?
go wrong. And I literally have told people in the church that needs to go on throughout the marriage.
Yes. Yes, because a lot of times when you do that ecclesiastical kind of premarital counseling,
Yes.
that's not typically the same person you're going to go to then when you're, if something comes up later in the marriage. So connecting with someone who's like specifically trained to help coach couples through these challenges that they're facing, when you already, it's so much easier when you're like, okay, we all know each other, we know the dynamic, we know our goals. Like,
Yes.
let's reach out and
Yes.
get a little bit of coaching. Then it's not like, let's go to our ecclesiastical leader and talk about like the things
Oh,
that we haven't figured out, you know. No, it's like a different feel. It's like let's go to our coach, let's go to our trainer, right? Like let's get a little bit of training here.
and to your point, we get coaches for everything.
Yes, right?
I
You
mean,
want to lose weight, you hire a coach. You want to manage your money better, you get a coach. Like, why is this any different?
no, and I don't think something that I know you help people with is how to have fun.
Yes. I
How
think
do
you need a
you have
coach for that.
fun?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I hate to say it, but I can't wait to call you up and say, okay, we want a session because I don't know that I'm that much fun anymore. And I need a check-in for sure, but it's 100% necessary. Why struggle? And I'll bet I'm going to go with the 80/20 rule. 80% of those of us that were married before believe in start out. This is a preventative
Hmm.
coaching. It's just like, we exercise to prevent
Yes.
things that are not good happening to us physically. This
Yes.
is the same. And let's show our kiddos, if you have kiddos or planning to have children, how important it is to have coaching.
Yes.
It's,
Yes. A lot of what I do with my podcast and my book, they're meant to be, and I'll just use a little bit different analogy, is they're meant to be oil changes. They're meant to be maintenance. Like these are the things that we do to prevent like the massive engine blow up that
yeah.
you like, that's what lands a lot of people in therapy is like all of a sudden the engine is blown and now we've got to reconstruct this entire engine and it's a big job. That's why marriage therapy has a very low success rate, is because most people come in with blown engines versus you listen to the podcasts and read the books and you like do your maintenance so that you don't get to that point.
Yeah, I love that analogy because how many, I'm sure I have in my life, but your engine's blown and you get rid of the car.
Right. Well, you almost have no choice at that point because it's going to cost you the same to replace the engine as replace the whole car, right? Versus these little oil
Oh,
changes that are going to cost you 30 bucks in 5 minutes and you can wait in your car and they'll do it right there.
yeah. And all of and I know this because I realized that 7 years into this marriage of 30 years,
Hmm.
I said, oh my gosh, this same stuff is coming up.
Yeah.
And, so maybe let's go ahead and work on this.
Yes.
It's not,
So smart.
and so that's why I was so looking forward to this conversation because I want to stress to the audience how important it is, this maintenance. I love that that's how we can look at it. We have maintenance for everything else.
Hmm.
Everything else.
It's the law of entropy, right? Like if we don't take care of things, they decay. And so, yeah, absolutely. And so that one of the myths in my book is really like people have the mindset, okay, we got married, we sealed the deal, we're locked in, right? And so we'll deal with our relationship when we have more money, when our kids are older, when we're less busy. And that doesn't work.
No, it really does not work. And however, if you are on this maintenance program,
Right.
and this preventative program, when things inevitably do happen, you have a foundation and you have tools and you have someone to go to.
1,000%. To put it more simply, like I said, a lot of these couples that I work with, they've been married 20, 30 years, and all of a sudden they're hitting this point in their life where their kids are starting to leave, right? They've built a lot of their life around their kids and their activities, and so their kids are leaving home, their parents are aging, they've got to work with their families of origin to figure out what to do with mom and dad. Their health is starting to fail, they're going through massive changes like menopause, and uh, a lot of people are either retiring or changing careers. There's all of these massive transitions. And it's then when you need your best friend, that's when you need the support of your friend who knows you, who loves you, who's there with you through the thick and thin, who's gonna like be able to handle the emotions that you had no idea were coming. That's when you need your friend. It's not like, when you're young and tons of energy and everything's going your way. And, that's when you build the friendship. When you cash in on that friendship is when that transition period, when you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful I don't have to do this by myself.
I myself. Do you see often that one person, or maybe at the beginning of this journey, sometimes only one will be willing to reach out and to begin this program or to dive in when there's something hard going on? Does that happen often?
Yeah, it does. It happens a lot. In fact, I just met with a couple where, I always ask them, "How can I be most helpful to you?" And the husband, he said, we need a little bit of a tune-up." Kind of was his wording. He's like, "We just, we fight a lot, this and that. We just." And the wife was like, to me, it's way worse. Like he's just saying like, oh, we just need a little bit of help. And she's saying, I'm like dangling off the edge of a cliff. So a lot of times one partner thinks it's gone way worse than the other partner, or one partner's coming in saying, I don't know if I want to stay in this marriage. And the other partner's like, well, what is the problem?
What
So
is the problem?
yeah, it's very, very common, and the typically in my terminology we call it the latent partner has to show the more blatant partner that there is a problem, because oftentimes there's one partner who just isn't that uncomfortable. He's like, "What's the problem? Like, I'm getting what I need out of this relationship at the expense, typically, of the partner who isn't."
Okay, and that makes perfect sense. It's so interesting because, and again, I keep throwing this out to y'all, audience. The times in my life I've taken anything for granted were the times in my life that I'm like, why in the world would I ever take anything for granted? Most importantly, the most important relationship, and other than God, if in
Yeah.
complete respect for all people of faith, different faiths, but the really and truly, why would we take that for granted? We are these imperfect humans that, and I'll use myself as an example. It was unbelievable. A family was was split up because whether one person, thought things were, somebody was hanging off the edge and somebody else said, well, this is fine. Either way, had we worked with somebody along the way, I wouldn't have had to learn that in my second marriage. And I'm just going to say, thank God I did, that
Hmm.
I recognized it,
Hmm.
because it turns out a lot of what we are blaming on a relationship, only my example,
Hmm.
is internal work that we have not done individually.
Oh, I could say, you could say with confidence that typically their struggle in a relationship, it starts with us.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I realized, oh God, I'm the common denominator, it was a little disappointing and freeing though at
Yeah.
the same time. But it is really so. What would you like to, for the audience, to take away today? I hope so much you'll come see us again. But what would you like them to take away today? I love this, thinking about this as a maintenance program.
Hmm.
What do you
Yeah.
want them to ask themselves or leave here today reflecting upon?
Yeah. I mean, I think the reality is if you're feeling any type of resentment, disappointment, you're feeling like you're not getting what you need out of your relationship, you're just not having a lot of fun, I would say nothing has gone wrong. Just listen to those promptings within you. Like, ask for some help, get some help. Even if you just start by listening to some podcasts or reading some books or just getting educated on what can I do to
Mhm.
change this dynamic that I'm not loving. And here's like a really good, I always say, as humans, we're really good at complaining about things. Like whether it's we're calling our mom or our girlfriend or the our bros at the gym or we're journaling it, whether it's internal or external, a lot of us will complain about things that we're not happy about. Now, underneath every single one of those complaints is a request or a desire. And most of us have not made that request or desire known to our partner. So the resentment that we carry, the disappointment that we carry, the things that we're not getting are because we expect the person to just know.
Ah,
And that's a massive myth. And that's going to keep you stuck and miserable. And so
ah,
get the skills to be able to ask for the things that you need. Now, a lot of people, you might get emails and go, "Oh, Monica, she doesn't know. I've asked a million times for all the things that I want. My spouse refuses." Learn how to ask, learn how to skillfully bring things up, make requests. What it looks like is standing toe to toe with the person that you love, fighting for the things that are important to you because you value the relationship above all else. It
mm,
means stop sweeping things under the rug. Stop trying to control the things that you can't control and just be willing to stand toe to toe with the person that you love because you cherish the relationship.
mm. That is beautiful because you cherish the relationship. And I mean, of course, I can't help but throw one more thing out there. There has to be that willingness.
Mhm.
I think so often we're, if this or if you, then I, rather than I'm willing.
Asking for what you want and need in a relationship is very vulnerable. It's
Mhm.
much easier and safer to complain about what you're not getting than to
Mhm.
actually ask for what you want.
Ah, and none of us are mind readers. To your point, if we haven't asked yet or we haven't asked in a loving way,
Skillfully. Uh-huh. Right.
skillfully, it's not going to be, the outcome is not going to change.
Right.
Oh, Monica, I have just so enjoyed this conversation.
I
I,
have.
and I so appreciate what you do. And I know the audience does. Again, we'll have all the ways for you to follow her podcast and, get in touch with her and get her book and, really just dive in and let's all go ahead and commit to being the change, to being willing to grow these incredible relationships. I mean, really
Yeah.
and
I
truly.
so here's another thing that's super common is that the partner who listened to the podcast will be like, "Why do I have to do all the work?" And my answer to that is, "Why not you? Why not you?
Right, you. Seriously.
If
Wow.
not you, then who?"
Yeah, that's right. I love this so much. I so appreciate you. Audience, thank you again. Thank you, Father. And Monica, I sure hope to see you soon.
Yeah, let's
Have
keep in touch
another
for sure.
conversation. Yes, please. And you know what? Hook 'em.